Maria, why are you here today?
I'm here to get my story out.
So you're here to get your story out?
Right.
Okay. What's your story? What happened?
So I'm one of the many that is refusing to be vaccinated, let alone not to sign the papers for giving a third party access to my medical records and everything.
Okay.
And the weekly testing that they are asking for as well.
And we're talking at Mayo and the Mayo complex?
Correct.
All right. And you do, and how long had you been at Mayo when this all started for you?
I've been at Mayo since August. Otherwise, I've been at a nursing home, a long care facility.
Long-term care?
Yep.
Okay. And you had been trying to get in at Mayo doing phlebotomy
Over 10 years.
for over 10 years.
Yep.
And then you got in, and now all of a sudden, because of their jab mandate, you found out you weren't going to have that dream job for very long because you had made a decision a while ago that you would not comply with any kind of mandate that requires you to put the jab in your body.
Correct.
And did you apply for religious or any kind of other exemption?
I had applied for the religious exemption. That was approved.
Okay. But they still... So you put in for the religious exemption, it was approved, but there were still steps that they were going to require you to take.
Correct, and the religious exemption isn't permanent too. That can be pulled at any
Any
point
time.
in time.
Yeah. Arbitrarily, they don't have to have any reasoning.
Correct.
Okay. And you had made the decision that you were going to fight it.
Yes.
Yeah. When did you come to that conclusion?
I want to say probably Christmas time,
Around Christmas?
when I was still waiting on finding out if my exemption was approved or not.
And we have a pretty nice little crew of people here who have all kind of been run through the ringer on some of this, and they're gonna lay scrubs down with you. But what was the termination date that everybody was given originally?
Originally, that would have been January 3rd, I believe.
Okay, and so you're still technically employed, but haven't been working, correct?
Correct. It's been an unpaid leave of absence. I
Right.
can't use PTO.
Cannot use any of your PTO. It's an unpaid leave of absence. So then the other question that I have is do you get your PTO that you haven't used?
No.
No. So you've had to sacrifice that as well.
Yes.
Okay. And so it's earned. It's time off that you've earned, and you can't use it while you're on unpaid leave, and they will not give it to you when you're done.
Correct.
That sounds just and fair to me. How many people do you know that have been negatively impacted? Well, I mean, anybody that's involved in this has been negatively impacted, but how many people do you know personally from working here who have either resigned, retired, or been terminated for their stance?
Quite a few.
And does it all come down to they either don't want to take the weekly testing because they're only requiring testing of people who are willing to stay but don't want to take the jab, but can stay if they do the weekly testing.
Right.
But you know people who have said, I'll do the testing, but won't take the jab, and they're staying. But you also know people like you who have said, I'm not doing either.
Right.
And that's quite a few, isn't it?
Yes.
So do you remember any of the numbers at all? Locally it's over 1,000, isn't it?
Yes.
And organizational, it's into several thousand people, correct?
Correct.
Has it been hard?
It has.
Yeah. Because you've been without income.
Yes.
And it's not like you have a small family.
No, we got a big family.
You have at least 4 offspring that eat like farm animals.
Oh my gosh, endless pits, I'm telling you.
Endless pits. They take after their dad.
They do. I don't know where it all goes.
Why did you decide you wanted to do this today? Because, you know, some of the attention has died down. I mean, there for a while in November and December, there were several big rallies. In one rally, there was well over 1,000 people that were there, and a lot of them are still employed, but they said people have a liberty to not have to be forced into this. What made you decide to do this now?
I think after my Zoom call that I had with the head of HR and the head of my lab, and how that went, I think was the last push for me. I was done sitting on the sideline, allowing it to happen.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, a few weeks ago.
Okay. Because if I remember correctly, you said it did not go well.
No.
They were rather rude and condescending.
Right. I got an email stating that the Zoom call was going to be where I can talk to HR and discuss my concerns. But when I got on the Zoom, that was not the case. It was to discuss my disciplinary actions, my final, which I have never had one ever, so I'm not sure how that's my final one.
Well, it's because they can do whatever they want, because they have all the money and the power, the nonprofit that they are. In all of this, has your desire been, because they're painting anybody who says no, they're painting everybody out to be radicals, they're painting everybody out to be some sort of inconsiderate, selfish beast who doesn't care if grandma gets the coof and dies, or that you're somehow a science denier and don't believe that the coof is real. And is any of that gone through your mind? Like, you don't care if people get sick, or do you or in any way, shape, or form deny the reality of the virus?
No, it's not the case. Like, you're not taking it, but doesn't mean my actions or my ability to do my job doesn't change. I go in there, I put my scrubs on, I greet everybody, give the same amount of respect that I would want to be given, and I give them 100% of my attention and time.
And any of the times you were doing any kind of blood draws, did anybody that you were working with ever look at you and the first question that they had was, have you been jabbed?
I have had, not right away, I mean, I've had doctors who make comments.
No, I mean the patients, the people that actually matter. So you're telling me that the patients don't ask those questions because in that point they're really not there to worry about that.
Right.
And how were you treated by staff?
Some staff were very negative and disrespectful.
Like openly?
Openly. I've been told that to do my part and get the jabs and slow the spread, and to not let another patient be death beyond my shoulders.
Just out of curiosity, how many patients have died that they can track that back to you? Oh, okay. I thought it was a valid question when you said not to let another patient die because of you. So, like, that's a pretty bad blood draw if the patients are dying when you're doing it. So you can't. No, they can't track any infection to you at all.
Right.
But they sure insinuated that.
Correct.
So your desire in all of this was not to just paint the Mayo Clinic or any of the other affiliates with Mayo in some sort of horrible light. You wanted to work here.
I did. I wanted to work with the #1 medical facility. Wanted to do it for a long time. Now, not so much anymore, and I can't stand by as they continue to do the things that they're doing.
What would you say to the people who are saying things like, well, you're just a fringe, you're just a few, you guys don't really matter, your opinion doesn't matter? Does that matter to you if there's 10 people or 10,000 people? Is the numbers that all that matter to you, or is it the principle and the ethic?
It's the principle. It doesn't matter about how many people, few, the amount.
How would you answer people who say, well, Mayo is a private organization, they can do what they want? Would you argue against that?
I would.
Is it because you would say that no matter, even though it's a private organization, they shouldn't be able to force their will on their employees in a situation like this?
Correct. We should be able to have the right to put whatever we want in our body or to not, and not risk losing our job and feeding our families because of something that they are making.
Do they fire people for smoking?
Nope.
Do they fire people for being morbidly obese?
No.
Do they fire people for being diabetic and not taking care of themselves?
No.
But they do terminate people for not taking the jab.
Correct.
And which one of those 4 things is worse? Morbidly obese, smoking, or not taking care of yourself as a diabetic? Which one do you think would cost them the most money and cause the most deaths?
Obese.
Yeah. So let people, and that's coming from a former fat guy. So, well, you know, either you make jokes or you cry, and I really don't want to see everybody cry today.
Right.
Just get angry. Yeah. Get so angry you cry, right?
That'd be
So,
me.
are you asking people to just sit back and think about how willing they are to comply just for the sake of comfort? Because we've had that
A lot of us.
we've had that conversation in the past that
Right.
and I know that you feel the same way, that it's understandable if you want to take the jab. You don't have a problem with somebody getting the jab if they want it.
No, that's your choice, that's fine, but those of us who don't want it should have that exact same freedom without consequences as well.
And in our prior conversations, we've talked a little bit about people being willing to comply for the sake of their comfort. Because some of the conversation we had leading up to just this morning when we met before, some of what we heard was, I know people who were going to stand and they were going to stand and they were going to stand and they weren't going to take the test and they weren't going to take the jab and they weren't going to do any of this, and then all of a sudden when it came time to put their money where their mouth is, all of a sudden they cave in. What would you say to those people who at the last minute changed their mind and who had all these really strong convictions? Are they helping or hurting the republic, helping the citizens of this country when they wait until the last minute and then comply?
It's hurting. I mean, if you're gonna, same with if you do a religious exemption and you're denied and so you buckle and you get the jab, where you're not standing behind your conviction.
Right.
You're contradicting what you're standing for, and that's where they're gonna get us.
How hard has this been on you?
It's been hard. Financially, emotionally.
Yeah. A lot of tears.
There's been a lot of tears, yes.
Lots of lack of sleep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because you've given up a lot.
Yes.
It's not been easy.
No.
That's kind of a pay cut to go from doing what you were doing here to doing anything else.
Yeah.
Right? It's like starting over.
It is.
Yeah. Makes birthdays and everything really hard when you can't do what you want to do for the kids. Yeah.
It makes it hard to not do what I absolutely love doing, and that's helping other people.
But we're going to work on that, aren't we?
Yes.
We're going to find an answer to that, right?
Right.
So, are you ready to go up and do this, or anything else you want to say to anybody?
I'm ready to go up there and do this. And just anybody out there, if you haven't, stand up. Now is the time. Stop hiding behind your words. Get up and take action. Now is the time.
Now is the time. If not now,
Now when?
And if not you, who? That's right.
Now, you want one of my guns?
No.
Yes.
I didn't bring mine.
What the hell?
I know.
Make me walk fast backwards.
It's a sign.
How many years did you want to do this?
How many years have I been waiting to do this?
Yeah.
Over 10.
How many years did you work for Mayo?
10 and a half.
10 and a half. How many years is that? 26 years.
26 years down.
Terminated for not complying.
Yep.
How many people did you kill in your 26 years?
Not. None.
Do you want to stand right in front of
Yeah, now go stand in front of your...
Stand in front of it.
What's your name?
Marie. Sarah.
Melanie.
combined 37 years of experience.
How many? Okay. August with Mayo, but then I've been in the long term.
37 years of experience for Mayo. Terminated for not following the narrative. But we're going to survive this, aren't we?
Yes.
And we're going to change the face of medical care in Southeast Minnesota, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
A lot of sweat, tears.
Sic Semper Tyrannis, Mayo. There's no difference between government tyranny and corporate tyranny. Thank you, ladies. We need more people like you.